Yo, what's good, Jets Nation? This is NY Jets Media, bringing you guys my breakdown to each of the undrafted free agents that Joe Douglas brought in after the NFL draft. If you guys have not seen my previous videos, I broke down each draft pick that Joe Douglas made in his first draft as the New York Jets general manager. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'm posting all New York Jets content and highlights as well. I just posted a Denzel Mims highlight video, and I'm probably going to go into more highlights to other draft prospects like LaMichael Pirine and all those type of guys. So with that being said, let's jump right into the video. My first guy I want to go over is cornerback Lamar Jackson out of Nebraska. This man is a very intriguing prospect because, number one, I drafted him in a lot of my mock drafts later in the draft, and I'm pretty shocked he went undrafted. And no, it's not because his name is Lamar Jackson. It's simply because he has rare size at that cornerback position. He's like 6'2" and extremely long. And I feel like that's perfect for Greg Williams' scheme. Do I think he's going to make the 53-man roster? No, but can he be a guy in the practice squad that can develop behind guys like Bryce Hall and Pierre Desir and all those type of guys? Yes. So I really like this signing because I feel like getting him as an undrafted free agent is huge. I really did not expect him to not go drafted. I expect him to go 6th or 7th round. So getting him as an undrafted free agent is good value. So we got him, and then our other cornerback we got is Javelin Guidry out of Utah. This man is a speed demon. He's the opposite of Lamar Jackson. He's 5'9" and ran like a 4.2. So he doesn't have the best cornerback qualities. Like, he's not a good press man-to-man. He doesn't have the best ball skills or tackle ability, but I feel like they got him for pure raw speed, and I feel like he can develop behind maybe Brian Poole on the practice squad. He could be our future nickel cornerback. And what Joe Douglas is trying to do in undrafted free agency is, okay, which positions do we need the depth at the most? And he looked at cornerback positions, so he signed 2 cornerbacks right off the gate in Lamar Jackson and Javelin Guidry. So I like those 2 signings right off the bat by Joe Douglas. The next position that Joe Douglas tackled was the wide receiver position. I like what he did in the undrafted free agents at this position because my one issue I had with the draft was he only drafted 1 receiver in Denzel Mims. And this is such a deep wide receiving class. I'm like, yo, why did we only get Mims? I love Mims, but I feel like we could have got someone solid in the 5th or 6th round. But I feel like maybe Joe Douglas liked other players, and he knew that he can get quality players in free agency, which he did in Lawrence Cager and George Campbell. So Lawrence Cager out of Georgia, he is a interesting guy because he's huge. He's 6'5", and he's the type of guy that is a jump ball type of wide receiver. He's not going to take the top off the defense. He's not a speed threat. He's basically a throw up in the end zone, and he's going to go up and get it for you. And George Campbell out of West Virginia, he's another intriguing prospect. So I really like how he understood, like, okay, I need cornerback depth and wide receiver depth. So his first instincts were, I need to get 2 of each right off the gate. So I feel like those 4 players that I just named in Guidry, Jackson, Cager, and Campbell can come in and learn behind, and maybe we found our next Robbie Anderson, one of those 2 receivers. You know, Robbie Anderson was an undrafted free agency, and he had a very successful career as a New York Jet. So I like those 2 players, and hopefully one of them can make the roster, because I feel like I didn't expect either of them to go undrafted. I thought there were 7th round picks, but with this such a rich draft, you never know who's going to go undrafted. So I like those 4 selections right there so far. So moving on from the wide receivers and cornerback position, going into the defensive line, the Jets signed Sterling Johnson out of Coastal Carolina. We got Bryce Huff out of Memphis, who's more of an edge rusher. And we got Dominique Davis out of UNC Pembroke. So which is interesting from Joe Douglas's philosophy. We did not draft any interior defensive linemen. We got an edge rusher in Jabari Zuniga out of Florida, but we have so much depth at that interior defensive line position where I'm really happy he did not waste a pick on that. So getting these guys out of undrafted free agency, we need to have more bodies in the building because Greg Williams obviously has a talent to develop defensive linemen. We got Kyle Phillips, I'm pretty sure, was an undrafted free agent last year. I could be wrong. And he came in last year and was a beast. He was really productive as an undrafted free agent. Foldy Fatukasi, he was a late round pick, and we developed him into a solid defensive lineman. Nate Shepard, he was an earlier pick. I think it was 3rd or 4th round. And he's like an older draft pick. And at first I thought that was going to be a bust. But last year he came in after suspension and was a beast. So getting these 3 guys, I think Huff has the most potential because he's more of an edge presence, and he has a lot of qualities that I feel like Greg Williams can get to. He has that speed off the edge, and he can easily get to the quarterback. And I feel like him going undrafted was shocking to me. So grabbing him in undrafted free agency is huge, and especially edge is probably our weakest position on our defense. We have Jordan Jenkins, and we got the rookie out of Florida, and we have Basham, and that's really it. So we need as much edge presence as we can, because the biggest problem last year was getting to the quarterback. Jamal Adams was our best edge rusher behind Jordan Jenkins, and he's a safety. And I know Jamal Adams is an absolute superstar, so we can't really complain, but he's not an edge rusher. That cannot be a thing. We cannot let our safety be our best edge presence. It's a huge plus to have Jamal Adams be an excellent pass rush, but we need that guy on the edge. So I like these 3 signings. I don't expect any of them to be another Kyle Phillips, but you never know. Sterling Johnson was a team captain, so you know what Joe Douglas is trying to do. He drafted like 5 team captains, so he likes leadership. He's getting more character guys to bring into the building that loves to work, that loves the game of football, and is passionate. So I feel like Joe Douglas is trying to study their habits, their work habits. Who are you as a person? Do you have a natural leadership ability? And those are the type of people he wants to bring into this team. And you know, Joe Douglas always says, I want to build the best culture in sports. And that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to get as much talent as he can that has the natural leadership qualities to build the best culture in sports. So yeah, I like those 3 signings at the defensive line there. The next signing I want to go over is Jared Hilbers out of Washington. This is an offensive tackle, and I feel like he can transition to guard if he's coached properly. He's a big dude. He's 6'6", so you know offensive line is probably the weakest position on this Jets roster on offense, besides wide receivers. But the more bodies on offensive line, the better. We need to have quality depth. Well, last year it was, like I said in all my videos breaking down the offensive line, was absolutely terrible to watch. We had so many different sets. We had so many different injuries. So the more depth on the offensive line, the better. Who knows? This guy can develop into a solid right guard or left guard. I don't think he's going to transition to a tackle at the next level, but maybe, you never know. Someone at that size, that 6'6", and that big, can be a beast if he's coached properly. So we have to just hope he's coached properly and can develop into somebody that can be a beast. But my prediction is he does not make the 53-man roster, and he's not going to be anybody important on this Jets roster. So that being said, jumping into our last signing of undrafted free agency, we got safety out of Alabama, Shaheem Carter. And I like Carter because he was a starter on Alabama. And anybody that plays at Alabama, you know they're playing high-end competition. You know they're coached by Saban well, and they have the qualities to play Division I football at Alabama. You know, like if you're playing at Alabama, you're a very good football player. And getting somebody out of a program like Bama in undrafted free agency is huge. And this man is a hybrid. He can play safety. He can even play nickel corner. He can play a bunch of different positions. So having somebody like that coming in, maybe he can learn behind Ashton Davis, new rookie out of California, because that's his type of play style. But yeah, so that's my analysis out of all these undrafted free agents. Drop a comment down below which one's your favorite. Which one do you think is going to be an immediate impact? Who's going to make the 53-man roster? Who I think is going to make the 53-man roster? If I had to choose, probably Lamar Jackson and one of the 2 wide receivers, if not both, that we got, because I feel like those are the biggest positions of needs. Depth-wise, we don't have depth at wide receivers. I know Joe Douglas is like obsessed with these receivers that we have on our team, like Perriman and Doxson and people that I'm not super comfortable with, but I really think Douglas has a plan with these playmakers, and I really hope 1, 2, or 3 of these undrafted free agents can make the 53-man roster and make an immediate impact in the Jets' future. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in my next one. Peace. Let's go Jets.